Let's talk about Queen Elizabeth. Apparently, new insights into her concerns about that marriage.
Yes, these have come out in another book, which has been written by Gyles Brandreth, who is a former Conservative MP who has close ties, or had close ties, to the royal families, particularly Prince Philip. And he has highlighted, it's all, to be honest, it's all in fairly modest terms, but he has highlighted the fact that the Queen had reservations that this relationship might be moving a little bit too fast. I mean, I think it is fair to say that in the end, she very much embraced Meghan Markle. She made her feel welcome. And obviously that makes people more angry about the way that in that Oprah Winfrey interview, Meghan then actually turned on the royal family.
Now, Princess Charlotte has been given a new honour, and again, it's a connection back to her grandmother.
Princess Charlotte may be given a new honour. Yeah, the story is that Princess Charlotte, who is 7, may very well be given the title Duchess of Edinburgh. Now, that title has been vacant since the death of the Queen, who was obviously herself Duchess of Edinburgh. It was one of her titles. On her death, it went to the Crown, but it's not been used by the King, Charles. It is now his to give to whoever he chooses. The original intention was that it was going to go to his younger brother, Prince Edward. But now the suggestion is he wants to promote those members of the royal family who are higher in the line of succession. And Princess Charlotte, at 7, is 3rd in line to the crown. Prince Edward is way down at number 14. Now, it's not inconceivable that obviously Charlotte could one day become queen if her brother George were to predecease her and have no children. Now, this all gets a bit complicated. It's very sort of British, but it is conceivable that she could become queen. So the idea is that giving her this very prestigious title now would be a recognition of her seniority within the royal family.
I get the point. If the King's son's son died or gave it away, then the King's son's daughter would end up being the Queen, right?
Yeah, you may remember a few years ago, and it was actually in Australia at the 2011 Commonwealth Heads of Government, it was announced that the whole thing about men primogeniture, it's called, having precedence over females in the line of succession was to change. So had it been in that time, Charlotte would actually fall behind her younger brother Louis, but that doesn't happen anymore. So she retains her position in that line of succession, even though she has younger male siblings. Difficult, right?
So, yeah, I'm with it, though. I like the flow chart. God love it that it's in the back of your brain. Now, let's talk about Prince Andrew. Obviously, the expectation is that he hides from public view, but he's apparently really annoyed that his police protection is being scaled back. Now, presumably that's because he's never leaving the house again?
Well, he leaves the house and he's occasionally photographed. What he doesn't have is the HRH handle anymore. Now, he has it, but he can't use it. And this, again, is where it gets slightly complicated. And there's a move now in Parliament, spearheaded by a Labour MP called Rachel Maskell, who is the MP for the constituency of York. She wants the law to be changed so that the monarch can remove as well as awarding titles. Right now, to sort of quote the book of Job, if you like, the monarch giveth but cannot taketh away. So she can appoint somebody Duke of Sussex, Duke of Cambridge, or whatever, but she can't, or he can't, he can't take that title away. And there's a very strong feeling, particularly in the city of York, because Prince Andrew is the Duke of York, that he oughtn't to have that title. So if that legislation goes through Parliament, which is 50-50, it's coming up next month, the King will have the power simply to strip him of that title, and the power, if he chose to strip Harry and Meghan of their titles, Duke and Duchess of Sussex.
Geez, that'd be fascinating to see the debate on all of that in both directions. Now, finally, before we let you go here too, sensitive but important to talk about. The Queen's death certificate had dying of old age on it. Now, this is something that I think it's only 2% of people in the UK end up having listed as a cause of death. And I don't think it's disrespectful to her, her reign, her legacy, to talk about what she may well have been sick with. And there's some early reports that it may well have been the terminal, a particularly difficult version of cancer.
There's a lot of speculation about this. In actual fact, my own mother's death certificate was old age, so it's unusual. My hunch is that this was done to stop speculation, to stop people talking about what may or may not have been afflicting the Queen. I mean, what we do know, and again, this comes back to the Gyles Brandreth book that we were talking about earlier. What we do know is that even up to a couple of days before her death, the Queen was in good spirits, was seen to be active, and then died, it appears, quite suddenly. Whether we will ever know the actual reason for her death, I don't know, but there's always speculation, and the speculation is going to continue, as it does with everything about this family.
Lovely to talk to you. All the best. We'll talk again soon.
My pleasure.